There is this African adage which goes thus, that for the deaf to understand a particular message we're trying to pass across to him, we say that message in the presence of the child. It's the reason why I'm making this video in English language. I will try my best. And this is concerning the deportation that is ongoing, and it is not only it's not only happening in America, it's happening in all other Western world and also European countries. And I think it is high time that these people know, like I've said several years ago and even till about 2 years ago, that we know the games that they play, and that's how they derived what we call third world countries today, even though we don't know the second world countries. Okay, now that is by the way. This movement is started by President Trump, and in all fairness, I think that Trump has been able to send out a very lovely message to we Africans, and most especially to African youths, to tell us that we do not have reasons to travel out of our own continent. And of course, for withdrawal of some other hates and everything in 2025, that African countries will still be depending on other countries despite all our resources, and ranging from natural, artificial, solid, liquid, human resources. It is a big slap on the faces of Africans, thanks to African leaders. However, President Trump and also all other people who call themselves world leaders, this message is especially for every one of you. Number one, you don't want people coming into your countries illegally from African continent. It's a good thing, right? But number one, is it possible for you world leaders to stop putting your hands in our elections in Africa? Because as at the last election, Nigeria or Nigerian politicians, they still had to go to Chatham House for whatever stupid reasons and selfish reasons. Which is to say that the game that the West or the Europe have been playing is to make sure that the person that is going to be enthroned in any African country, somebody that will be dancing to their tunes as puppets. And I know that this message will get to so many African countries, and they must think of the next phase, of the next line of actions. So we're imploring that Trump sees to it that as many people that are going to be deported from their countries, that one, they take their hands off our election processes. Number one. Number two, there is this stupid ideology that nobody is talking about, whereby an African leader will be used as puppets. And after helping the West and Europe to destroy his own country, there is something they put in place whereby such African leader is allowed or is enabled, is even rescued from Africa to go into exile, where he enjoys the rest of his life. And I've never seen one American president, one European country president, come into exile in Africa after, when such a person is being apprehended, to come and answer to the decay and embezzlement and everything. It's only from Africa to all these countries. Number two. Then number three, is it possible that Trump will see to it that our African leaders are no longer allowed to steal the money from back home and take to their countries? Because enough of this madness. It must stop. It is a must that we stop it. So Trump, we are imploring that you do not even allow African leaders to even come over for medical attention or procedure, even their family members. We're hoping that you leaders, you people that are now saying that the African leaders you have supported, you have raised, are not only menaces to Africans, but also menaces to you good for nothing leaders. We are not sorry to say it, because enough is enough. Now, for somebody like myself or anybody who is in Europe or America, when somebody wants to buy a house, you must find out where the last penny is coming from for the down payment. Then I'm asking you, world leaders, how come that you don't ask our politicians from Africa where they are getting the money to buy 10, 15 houses in your countries? You have enabled our own leaders, you have enabled our own brothers using religion and different forms of vices to become menaces, to become thorns in our flesh. And now you are tired of the rate at which Africans are trooping into your countries. And you're going to be sending them back home. Sending them back home, thank you. But will you see to it that this point I have raised had looked into? Look at the African countries from where you people get your resources. If not because you world leaders are so wicked and you don't see Africans as even human beings, where is your conscience? How shameless can all of you be that the same you people that talk about carbon tax, environmental sanitation and all these things, yet the same African countries from which you have looted all the resources that you have used to build your own countries, look at what you have done to them. Look at the result of your exploration and the mining processes. Are we going to be talking about Ghana? Are we going to be talking about Congo? And you people have the shamelessness to talk about mass deportation. You think it is easy for an African to wake up and say he or she wants to go through the Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pasture. If not because we are lucky in Africa, the resources we have in African continent, they are so self-sustaining and they can reproduce themselves. Of course, it has to a particular limit, but it is high time that somebody says all of these vices that you African leaders are using against Africans. And for what it's worth, under normal circumstances, no African wouldn't have had any reasons to even travel outside of African continent, if not because you people have enabled our leaders to destroy our lives. And look at where we are today. You think going through the Mediterranean Sea, the dangers route and everything, you think it's easy. And I will say this as the last part of this video. You world leaders, you first world countries, you don't know what is coming upon you, because the way you have destroyed the African nations that are supplying your resources, and these resources are no longer able to sustain themselves again, you will feel it the more. You will feel it, because so many of these resources are even being depleted. I saw some videos from Ghana in which so many water bodies have been damaged through illegal gold mining. What about Congo? I just hope that these few points I've raised will be looked into and see whether Africans naturally they will want to be in any other continent or any other nations of the world. My name remains Rotimi Daniels. How kokolojo ọlọ́rọ̀ tí bàbá ọlọ́rọ̀ bá gbọ́ kí ló fẹ́ fi mí ṣe? Ó dìgbà náà. Nonsense.